looking all right at the minute, lads. We've got a bit of an agenda. We've gone all professional tonight. I've actually spent 5 minutes and wrote down topics for us to discuss rather than just winging this.
Who are you? What have you done with Brunty?
I'm genuinely, my missus like, you're going on your phone too much. I'm busy, I'm doing stuff for Manchester is Blue. Oh, right, I'll leave you to it then. Right, okay, yeah. So, we need to crack on. So, we're going to talk about City and Gladbach and the game yesterday. The European adventure for a training match. You might as well just stayed at the Etihad camp and just trained with the under-21s lads, as far as I can see with yesterday's game. I was genuinely expecting a tougher game than them, but they just turned into a German Burnley. I think Burnley would have offered more, if I'm honest, actually, if we would have played them. But, you know, am I just being a bit harsh on Gladbach there, or was City just fantastic?
I think it was just another easy. It was just like another week in, week out game for us. It didn't seem like a Champions League game. Yeah, it just seemed like we were in our pomp playing well, and it didn't really matter who the opponent was. It was really simple. It was quite a forgettable game as well. There's not really much you can think. It just seemed like that was a great game to watch. It really wasn't really. To say we won 2-0, it was that comfortable. It wasn't a great spectacle.
Gladbach, in terms of the performance, offered literally nothing. I mean, you could either count. You could count two different styles they're going to play. They're either going to play it long and give the ball straight back to City, or play it short. But as soon as they play it short, they don't go forward. They're doing what we do with possession, but they never create an attack. And they left it until, the 63rd minute to bring Turan on. Then they started getting the ball forward. But even that was only twice. So they offered literally nothing. It was a training game for City. We never left second gear, though.
They're not really... They're like on the equivalent of playing like a bottom of the league Premier League team, aren't they? They're not a team that is... Well, they're not a team that is warranting a Champions League, last 16 spot, are they really? No. On current form.
It certainly didn't feel like it when we played them. It felt very much like this was a qualifying game to get into the last 16 again. I was just really impressed with City. One massive frustration I had was a bit of a little mini meltdown by some City fans thinking Pep's doing a Leon on us again by putting John Stones on the bench, where Laporte was outstanding, I thought. Dan, I know you're obviously Dion's love child, Ruben's love child. What's your thoughts on how he did with Laporte last night in the back?
In terms of the single performance, Diaz was outstanding. He was, not take anything away from Laporte, but you could definitely tell who the focal point in that back four was. As he always is, he's ever present, ever commanding, wants the best out of his whole team. And especially the back line, but it seemed like there was a power shift a little bit. You could see how much Laporte wanted to be involved as much as Diaz in terms of commanding. He just hasn't got that in him. But I think it's the first time I've seen two proper... I'd hesitate to put John Stones in his category, but if you know what I mean, proper beefy centre-backs. Two lads that would easily go into a proper rough challenge. They didn't have to, but it's weird having that. Whereas Diaz and Stones, you knew Diaz would be the interceptor and Stones would be the instigator. You know, as soon as he gets the ball, he's the one who drives forward. They took it in turns last night, and it's quite interesting to see Diaz a lot further forward than he normally is, and it worked well. It allowed the whole team to push up.
He's so good on the ball.
Worst team.
Yeah, he's so good on the ball.
He can step into midfield a bit like Rio Ferdinand used to. Saul Campbell in their heyday where they were confident, like shoulders out, there's 10 yards of space, no one to pass to, I'm just going in.
Yeah.
And
that's Stones' job normally, but because Laporte doesn't have any pace about him, Diaz was the one with the pace last night, and it had to be Diaz's job to push forward, whereas if it was Diaz and Stones is the one with the pace, and he would do it. It worked well either way.
Hey, listen, it did. We've not conceded a goal in 616 minutes in the Champions League, keeping 6 consecutive clean sheets. Our defence is saying an awful lot at the minute. What do you think of the introduction with Walker last night, Tom?
I think it was good to see Walker back in and amongst the starting 11. And I think the fact that Cancelo has now evolved into, on form, the best sort of fullback in the world, and if you can even call him a fullback anymore, because he's sort of I don't even know what to call him apart from an absolute genius. But the fact that Cancelo's form has sort of improved this season as opposed to last has meant that Walker can be afforded more rest than he was allowed last year. And we sort of... Walker is the sort of player that you kind of expect to drop a bollock here and there, but it tends to be when he's sort of had a run of 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, and then he sort of makes a mistake. And then that was when Cancelo was sort of given opportunities last year. Now that he's sort of being rested and brought in for the games where Pep needs him, obviously he's getting on a little bit. I say that loosely. He's still got plenty of time left sort of at the top of his game. But the fact that we can afford to rest Walker through the league, because we've got Zinchenko who's playing ridiculously well, Cancelo who's playing really well, and things like this, it means that when we do need him, when we can bring him in, he's fit, he's raring, and he's ready to go. And I thought he didn't really have a massive opportunities yesterday because Mönchengladbach sat so deep. Like, I agree with you in that I expected them to sort of try and play a little bit more than they did. But yeah, having Walker, similar to Laporte, the fact that these sorts of players are fresh and sort of coming into these Champions League games on the back of sustained periods of rest means that, well, I think we made 5 changes, was it, last night from the win at the weekend, and we've still got a side to rival any. So the fact that we can rotate and Walker can play these games fresh as opposed to sort of run down as he was over the last couple of seasons is going to bode really well when we get to the latter stages against the sort of the teams who are going to try and play football against us.
Brian, I wanted to bring you in on Ederson for a minute, because he barely did nothing for 91 minutes of the game yesterday, and the last kick of the match he had to be brought into action pretty swiftly, didn't he?
That is what makes a world-class goalkeeper. Joe Hart had that. It's the sort of focus where you won't have a shot faced, or you have nothing to do for so long, and then in the blink of an eye you need it and you're on it. You know, that is the levels of a world-class goalkeeper. You'll see it with Alisson. De Gea had it at one point in this league. Joe Hart had it, you know. All the way back to like years ago, David Seaman, I can remember being like that. It's that one, not for us, but for Arsenal, but it's that is the level of the world-class goalkeeper. You know, where you can be just sat there as a pedestrian for 89 minutes, and then one comes, and years ago that would have gone, you know, with a lesser goalkeeper, they would have got one back there, and that's the tide back in it for them. They've got something to play for. You know, but that's for me is why Ederson is probably the best goalkeeper we've ever had, and he's just to be switched on and be ready and just make a save and brush it off, and then that's it, done. And you did notice if you saw it, he said he was like to the defence, "What is this? What are you doing?" You know, he was at it. He was giving back in orders out. It was like the 90th minute, well, basically get your shit together.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had that massive eye of a tiger on his face, didn't he, as well, that he just was not impressed by that whatsoever. So, yeah, fair play to him. 3 players particularly I want to talk to you about. I'm kind of, if you can tell, I'm building from the back going forward here. So we're going to move into midfield, because we've already give Cancelo a lot of praise. We've already given Walker a lot of praise. And another one further forward is Bernardo Silva, because Cancelo and Silva and Walker have all been named in the Who Scored UEFA Team of the Week this week. Bernardo Silva scored with his head, lads. That's, you know, I don't think there's much this lad can't do at the minute for us. He just seems to be absolutely on fire. Just to give you an idea of where I'm talking with this, he's been directly involved in 8 goals in his last 10 appearances for City in all competitions, 3 goals and 5 assists. He's coming into that rich fame of form, Dan, isn't he, that we really need to see from him, especially towards the end of the season, the business end of the season. Yeah,
it's exactly that. You know, the winter/Christmas period tends to be the period where a lot of players drop off. Bernardo Silva, for pretty much the entirety of last season, was non-existent in most games. And this season, he is slowly starting to grind out those performances. But what I liked from him the most last night, obviously the header, of course, was he's brought back that energy, that work rate, like the Liverpool game a couple of seasons ago. He's brought that back, and he's had little snippets in the previous games, but last night was the first game I've seen recently where he's had it for nearly the whole 90 minutes. He was chasing every ball down. There was a highlight after the game. I can't remember which part of the game it was, but it was him and Foden closing down the ball. And they were both sort of oohing and ahhing side to side, keep the player guessing. And it was Bernardo Silva who was the one that edged closest to us and won the ball back. It's just that energy that I think we've lacked so much from him. added to that, his performances are getting in positions to get goals and be contributing to the goals as well. He's now finding that exact form and the exact player that we had in that first season. And there's no reason he can't improve even further than that, because we know he's got it in him. And he's only 26. The lad is phenomenal. If he can keep the work rate up, which we know he can, he's so intelligent off the ball, let alone on it. He'll be directly involved in a hell of a lot more goals before now and the end of the season.
He's been doing brilliant, hasn't he? There's no doubt about that, and I'm really gone.
I say if there's one thing that I can be a little tiny bit critical of Bernardo.
You can be, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
This is nitpicking. This is because I've seen that he can do better. There has been times where he'll get the ball 25 yards out, turn inside, rifle one in the top corner. We saw it at Old Trafford. He's done it plenty of times. He's got that in his locker, and then you'll get a chance inside 12 yards out, and he'll take a touch and take 2-3 more touches, and he's not in it, or it comes to him, and you think this is Bernardo. He can bang these in for fun, and it's just a really weak, tame effort that might dribble wide. It's like if he could just get that a little bit more clinical with his, now opportunities where he's like, this is him. He needs to take that chance now. He misses more than he does at the target, and that for me that's his next level to go to. I don't know if you noticed that. Maybe it's just me, and I'm really critical. But
I think I'm a bit. I think I'm a bit blindsided by Bernardo, to be honest. I've not really noticed his weak points, but now you mentioned it, I'll watch him for the whole game.
It's definitely there. There is chances where you think, "That's Bernardo. This is false to Bernardo," and it's like a really tame shot. Or he tries to side foot it into the net from 20 yards, and he's like, "Just hit it, mate. You know you can do it. You got it in the locker. You scored screamers."
Just to be devil advocate like you normally are, we'll reverse the roles here. I think everybody's guilty of that in the past few games. I mean, we saw it throughout the game. Was it Raheem Sterling or Gabriel Jesus, one of the two, should have just smashed it, and they were too busy nitpicking and trying to find a little pass rather than just...
I think the bugbear of mine is when you know you can hit it, why just piss about, just smash it in. Yeah.
And I think that's why we lacked the goals last night. I think it would have been a goal fest if we just thought, sod it, they're there for the taking. And I don't like using it because the last team we did it to was Leon, is we showed far too much respect to Gladbach. That, at the same time, they are where they are on good form. They did it well in the early group stages. They're in a group with Real Madrid, Inter Milan and Shakhtar Donetsk. That is a massively difficult group. So they have every right to be there, but last night they were definitely there for the taking for 4, 5, probably even 6-0, and we should have smashed a few more goals in.
I think more than the 2-0 result is kind of a demoralisation, because they'll have seen the way we've been playing. They'll maybe would have thought, we can give these a game. They didn't really get a touch. No. It's just another result for us, but they would have been like, we've got to get something here, and they were just brushed away. So they can't be coming to this second leg thinking it's going to be any easier for him.
I do just want to add to my point. I'm not at all having a go. I'm happy with we've won. That I'm not having a go. That sounded like I was proper disappointed.
No one thought you were having a go, mate. Don't worry about it.
No, that's all right.
All hate mail can be directed to no.
Young. He's a journo. He can deal with it.
I've not said anything. I'm literally
One word that's been used now, and it's a word I've got in front of me, and it's been used 4 times by one of you or 2 of you. Clinicality or clinicalness in front of goal. We seem to be lacking that at the moment. It's hard for me to say that because we're winning games and we're scoring goals, which is fantastic. But last night was a prime opportunity for us to have scored. Dan, we could have put the draw to bed last night without question. Like if we took the opportunities we had, it's great to see Sergio come on. We're going to come to the return of Sergio in a moment. But I tell you what, it's frustrating watching Jesus play sometimes because there's that opportunity. We all know which one I'm talking about. I can see it running through my head again, where he's got an opportunity to shoot, but he just doesn't. And he's
You just knew he weren't going to score. You just knew he wasn't going to score that.
Questioning himself. And I'm like, I put a tweet on Twitter last night saying, did anybody else kick the air then, wanting him to kick the ball? And it's just like, just shoot. Just shoot. If that was Sergio, that's a goal. What's Jesus got to do to get to that stage? Obviously, he scored last night, which is fantastic, and he has got a good record, let's face it, but he could have a better record. What's he got to do to go from the stage of not taking these chances to being, I can swear, a ruthless bastard in front of goal? I don't know what he has to be. Is it because he's not an out-and-out striker? I don't know. I'm putting it out to everyone there. What do you all think?
He's so frustrating because you can see the talent that he's got, and you know that he's so good with the ball at his feet, and when he's on form, he's incredible, and we watch him, and you watch him at Madrid last season in the Champions League and games like this, and you think, wow, he's got the potential to sort of fill Aguero's boots, and we don't need to worry about strikers. And then you watch him in other games, and he's like last night, and it's his inconsistency for me, which is what is the most frustrating thing, is that we know he's capable of scoring goals, and we know his stats show that he scores a lot of goals. But again, like last night, if you look at the scoreline at the end of the game, Gabriel Jesus has scored. Meant our strikers scored a goal. We won 2-0. Happy days. But when you watch the game, the amount of chances he has, I'm just not sure he's. I don't think he's a striker. I think he's so much more effective out on the left, or even when he's played on the right occasionally, but particularly on the left. I think he likes having the ball at his feet and running across players. He very rarely picks up the ball and runs directly at goal. He'll pick it up and he'll either cut to the left or he'll cut to the right. And picking the ball up on the left and cutting inside, I think, works so much more for him. But we brought him in as a striker, and he is sort of our second choice striker. I don't think he's good enough on the left to displace Sterling and force Sterling to move inside in place of him. But I also don't think that he's good enough at striker to replace Aguero. So he's sort of caught in a no man's land in a sense as to where his position is at City. And yeah, I think it's that lack of consistency in front of goal. Like Brian just said, then you don't expect him to score. When he got that chance last night, I don't know about you guys, but obviously Brian said it as well, I wouldn't expect him to the back of the net, because we know how much he sort of fannies about with the ball when he's got it. And if that's in the quarterfinals against Bayern Munich to go 2-0 up, you can't afford them chances to go begging. It's all right against Gladbach, who weren't offering anything, and we ended up winning the game anyway. But later down the line in bigger games, we can't have our striker missing chances like that. Not if we want to go on and win the Champions League or win sort of big trophies, because you need to be scoring those chances.
I'm looking at stats here, and I feel like I'm being overly critical to Jesus because I know he can do better. But here's a stat for you. Jesus has scored in all 5 of the Champions League appearances in the last 16 for City, netting at the stage in each of the last 4 seasons. He knows where the goal is, doesn't he? But there just seems to be something there that's not. I don't know. I just can't put my finger on it.
I've got 2 points I'd like to make about Jesus. The first one is, we all forget how young he is and how long he's been. He's 23. You know, we've had him since he was just turned 18. You know, and he's still learning his trade. You look at the maturing of a striker. It's not very often you see somebody who is early 20s who is really prolific. And if they are, they go on to probably have a shorter career. Look at Rooney, what was out at 31. You go back to Michael Owen, who was prolific at 16. Those sort of players are quite rare. You look at like Calvert-Lewin now. Calvert-Lewin's just turned 23. Started to mature a bit. You know, so I think you've got to give the guy a chance to fill out as a man in terms of on the football pitch as a striker. I think his finishing will improve as he gets older. When we got Sergio, he was 22. We didn't know much about it. He's an unknown entity, but we knew he wasn't going to. He developed into scoring every time he got the ball. He wasn't like that when we first got him. So I think we have to give him a little bit of breathing space. He's developed as a young man into a man at our club. You know, he's been there 5 years. Of course, we've seen him miss absolute sitters, and you're frustrating and you kick in the air like you said before. I think his age has to be taken into account here. And Tom just mentioned then about his positional side of things. There's probably some Football Manager fans out there that play the game and stuff. I know you do, Tom. I've seen you play the other day. He's a kind of Roberto Firmino style player where he is more of a defensive forward, if that makes sense. He's not a poacher. He's not an out number 9. He is somebody who will do the tireless stuff for the team. You know, you see Jesus, he'll drop out sometimes to make an extra man in midfield. He's very good on the left. He can equally do that on the right. But then again, he can chip him with a goal. And I think if we had somebody that was the same as Aguero all the time, we'd have 2 number 9s that they would be the same. There's no other dimension to him. Whereas I think Jesus has a dimension to his play which is quite rare for a young man, especially, and it brings value in different ways. He allows. He's kind of sometimes drops into a false nine. It can be a goal poacher. It can be it can be a unit as well. So I think having all these bows to his all these strings to his bow as a young man, as a young striker, he's only 23. I keep saying that. I think he will develop into something which we're seeing now. I think in 2-3 years' time, he'll be a really, really different player by then.
I've got a sneaky suspicion, and this is one of those that's going to go on record, that there's going to be a point in the next 18 months, 2 years, where he's going to turn into an absolute world beater. And I feel like he's so on the cusp of being there with confidence. I think having Sergio in the team doesn't help him, because I think he always knows he's going to be number 2 if Sergio's there because of the stature, and it's Sergio Aguero. Let's face it, you're always going to be number 2 to Sergio Aguero. I think there's a point when Sergio leaves where something's going to click in Jesus' head. Mentally, he's going to think, I'm the striker, I'm the number 9, I'm going to score goals, and I think he's just going to turn it. I just get a feeling he's going to flip 180.
I think that comes with age. I think that comes with getting to mid-20s.
How old is he now? How old is he now?
23. 23.
He's got loads of time left on it. And let's face it, I'm being overly critical because I know he can do better, but I just get a feeling in the next 18 months, 2 years, something's going to click in his head, and he's going to be so confident, and every time he touches the ball in the net, we think he's going to score. I don't know why I've got this feeling. I just see the feeling. He knows where the goal is. He can score. We're frustrated that he's not doing better than what he can be. So obviously we know he can do, and I'm sure he knows he can do. There will be a point in the future where it'll click for him, and he'll be our regular striker.
And the thing with Jesus is what you got to that spot on for me. The thing with Jesus is he is, in terms of staying fit and not injured, he's one of the most consistent players in the Premier League in general. Hardly ever injured, hardly isn't available for the squad. Yet, like you said, Tom, Sergio Aguero will always get the nod ahead of him. Recently, he's been fit, he's been ready to come to games, but the way Guardiola's playing this season, he's not needed as much. And I completely agree, there will be a point in the next year or two. He will just, that click, that maturity will just, right, it's time to start banging in the goals. I've had plenty of games. I know this league better than most players at the moment. I'm going to start scoring some goals. I'm going to start scoring some crackers, because we've seen the goals. Some of the goals he scores are world class. Some of them are little tap-ins, of course. But if he can adapt that terrier-like instinct like Aguero has, just get in the box, like the Calvert-Lewins, just get on the end of it, like the Canes, get on the end of it, he'll score so many goals. And I agree with you, Tom. It's just something that's just going to click.
I think we all know within the next 18 months Aguero's going to be gone. Whether that be end of this season or end of the next, he's going. That's the end of it. The dream's over. We've had our love affair. It will be in the history books forever. When somebody's going to come in, and I'd like to think that by then Jesus is probably going to be the senior man out of that pairing. Because he's not going to go out and buy 3 strikers. He's going to come in and buy 1 to replace Aguero. It's 1 in, 1 out. You'd like to think that Jesus will be the senior strike partner for them two, especially in terms of experience internationally and in the Premier League. He'll have won 4 titles if we win this year, Jesus, right? And that's correct. Is it 4 titles? 3 or 4, 6, 7 major trophies. You know, that experience at 23, 24. He will be the. We all dream of this Haaland coming in, or whoever it's going to be, to come in and be the new number 9. Well, he's there. The natural successor for me is there. We're going to bring in somebody who will challenge that, and in 2 years' time, that player might well be the new Aguero. But to have, I don't think I could think of a better second striker to have at our team that fits the system, plays with us. You don't hear a single thing from him. He seems to be the ultimate professional. You know, his head's screwed on. He's dialed in terms of his English. You know, he's focused, and to have that player alongside another striker, maybe another striker alongside him, I think when the time comes to replace Aguero, we are going to be in such a good position.
Can I just quickly add before we move on? We talk about Jesus' age, and don't get me wrong, he's not old by any stretch at 23. But I just think with Jesus that he's been with City for a significant period of time now. He's been training with Aguero. He's been playing alongside Aguero, one of the best strikers to ever grace the Premier League. for all this time, and he's still not sort of got that clinical edge that we hoped he'd have by now. And you look, and he's a very different striker to the likes of sort of Haaland and Mbappe, these sorts of players that we talk about. But like, you think Haaland's 20 and he's scoring goals at a ridiculous rate of knots. And as for me, we are the best team in the world right now, Manchester City. The way that we're playing football, the form that we're in, there is no better team in the world right now than City. And I'm not saying that we have a divine right to go out and have Mbappe, to go out and have Haaland, but as a team playing as well as we are, if we go out and win the Champions League this year, which is obviously a very, very long way away yet, and I'm not saying that we will, but you remember when Hazard signed for Chelsea about however many years ago, and it was City, United or Chelsea, and he came out and he said, I'm signing for the Champions of Europe. And if we do go out and win the Champions League this year, and Haaland becomes available, and I do think Haaland will leave Dortmund this summer because I don't think they'll qualify for the Champions League. If he wants to come and play for City, if we're the champions of Europe and Haaland wants to come and play for us, I don't see how we turn that down or turn a player of Haaland's calibre down in favour of Jesus potentially hitting this sort of clinical thing that we all hope that he will. Because I know he's young and I know he's got time to progress and I know he could become better, but there's no guarantees that he will. And in my mind, I'm kind of the belief now, or getting towards a belief that why hasn't it happened yet? Why hasn't he turned into this sort of player who gets through one-on-one in the Champions League and we all sit there thinking he's not going to score this? Whereas if Gundogan gets through one-on-one, a central midfielder would go, yeah, he's going to be at the back of the net here. If De Bruyne gets through one-on-one, we expect him to score. And I think I really want Jesus to work out at City, and there is still every opportunity that he will. But when you think about who's available and the players we're linked with, even players like you, like Marlon, Dan, who you rave about from PSV, he's a clinical finisher and he's young as well. And I think sort of age is becoming less of a thing in football. I think players are sort of getting opportunities much younger now at big clubs like Jesus did from sort of 18, 19. And it just worries me that he might never hit that sort of clinical thing that we want. And when Aguero does leave, can we afford to let Haaland go to another club in the summer if he does leave on the basis that we've got Jesus who we hope will work? I don't want to be really negative about him because he's a great footballer and there's no question in his ability, but as a long-term striker for Man City, I just can't see him ever being that Aguero successor.
The question is, if obviously Sergio goes, if City do sign Haaland or a big striker, which is quite rare for City to go and buy a finished product, let's face it, does that then tell you that Pep's got no faith in Gabby taking up the reins? That if we don't sign a player of the stature of Haaland and we bring in a number 2 to Gabby, does that tell you that Pep's thinking that Gabby's going to be the number 1 striker for us? That'd be a really keen transfer window to watch.
I think he brings somebody in that is on the same level as him straight away and says, you two fight out. We need 2 players in every position. We need 2 world-class players in every position. And bringing in a world-class striker, we have to do that. If we bring in somebody who's 18, 19 and might develop like Jesus has, it kind of makes you kind of then sort of put straight on paper that Jesus is a senior man. I don't think Pep will go down that route. He'll want 2 firing strikers, and you've got the young kids then, maybe Delap or in a match that comes back. You've got that third choice. But you will want somebody that is on Aguero's standard or close to a prime Aguero as you can get.
Okay, let's move on from this. Man of the match yesterday, we talked about it briefly, Cancelo. I can't believe... It's kind of like Gladbach didn't watch the game for previous City games. You know where the coach kind of says, right, we'll go and watch our opposition. We'll go and watch their team play. We'll see who the main players are. They give Cancelo so much time on the ball in the midfield. It's almost as if they didn't know who he was. And that cross for Bernardo was phenomenal. I've got some stats here just to give you an idea. His game by numbers. 100% long ball accuracy, 93% pass accuracy, 118 touches, 8 penalty area touches, not our penalty area touches, I will add. 7 duels won, 4 take-ons, 3 crosses, 2 interceptions, 1 shot, 1 tackle, 1 big chance created, 1 assist, and a clean sheet. I can see why he was man of the match, and he's arguably one of the players of the season up to now. Brian, tell me what your thoughts of Cancelo were last night, because I'm running out of superlatives for the lad at the minute.
He does. He seems to be able to do the exact same job no matter where he plays. Right back, left back. Now he's that comfortable, and with our added insurance of having a real solid 2 centre backs, and which turns into 3 when the other one goes forward, the other fullback goes forward. Somebody made a comparison about him being like Pep's Philip Lahm. He really is that super utility player that can play everywhere, and he would guarantee a starting position in every one of those positions. You know, he would be. If we were to play the next game and you say Cancelo plays centre mid, you wouldn't be bothered. If he was to start, say, Cancelo on the right wing, you wouldn't be bothered. You'd think, oh, well, he's in the team. We know he's going to put it in. I think he's like, I know, what is he, 26, Cancelo? 26? Yeah. He's playing now like you would expect a 29-year-old to be playing like a peak player, and you'd expect these levels of a fullback to be somebody who is been at the same club for 5 years, who's peaking and he's a will beater. You know, we've all seen him. You're expecting that to be him, and he's not. He's 26, and he's only been playing this new role for 3 months, and he's arguably now. If he doesn't start, you're asking why.
He is definitely first name on the T-shirt. Dan, Tom, have you got anything to add to Cancelo? Are you happy to move on to the return of Sergio?
It's just a pretty shoddy performance from him, really, wasn't it?
I was just going to say, one thing that I think has helped massively Cancelo this season is the fact that this role that he's got means that it doesn't matter if he plays left back or right back, because he spends the majority of the game at central midfield. So I think that's helped. Not only has it helped Cancelo's progression at City, but it's also helped Pep's dilemma with the left back situation that we had, which was such an issue last year. Because if it's Zinchenko playing left back, he spends the majority of the game at centre mid. If it's Cancelo playing left back, he's playing at centre mid. So we've sort of eradicated the issue of not having a left back by sort of eradicating the left back position, while still playing 4 at the back, which is absolutely crazy. Because Pep's just an absolute wizard. He's a genius. No one can sort of, the way he's reinvented football and the way he continues to reinvent football is ridiculous. And I think Cancelo was a signing no one really expected last summer. He kind of came out of the blue, and we spent a lot of money on him, and everyone was like, yeah, it's a good signing, but why have we spent 60 million quid on sort of a fullback or whatever it worked out as after we've done all the weird selling Danilo for like 35 mil. But I think obviously Pep knows what sort of qualities he had, and the fact that he can play 57 positions in one game. He's a fantasy football dream. He's so good, and I think he's just gonna, like Brian said, he's only 26. He's gonna keep getting better, and he's just
Did you notice Pep said, didn't he? If there was a game tomorrow, he would be fit and ready to go. He's that sort of can recover as well. And I think having somebody,
burgers.
I was gonna say he's been around Whitefield, Matt. He's ready to get a big match.
So he's like. He's super fit, and you know that having a player that will be fit every 3 days, he's going to play a lot.
Right, let's move on. Sergio Aguero. We're only doing a quick one on Sergio. He looks sharp. 1 or 2 nice little one-touch passes. Push, pass and move. You know, lads, he's starting on Saturday, you know. I get a feeling Sergio's starting on Saturday. Anybody else feel about that? We're going to talk about the West Ham game later. You're not feeling it? I've got a sneaky suspicion Sergio starting on Saturday.
He'll start on the bench, definitely.
Oh, I don't know. He didn't have much of a time to get a good foothold, but he did. I thought he looked nimble, fit, match ready. I thought he looked like he was raring to go. What do you guys think?
Go on, Tom. You go.
I'm just going to say he should be ready to go by now. He's been back in and amongst the squad for a good 4 or 5 weeks now, is it? Or I don't know how many weeks. It's been a load of match days, but become so thick and fast that he should be ready to go by now. And the fact we've been able to afford him extra time off has obviously helped him massively. I'm not sure about West Ham. I think West Ham are quite a physical team. I'm not sure. I think he got injured against West Ham. That was where he picked his first, or one of his injuries this season was at West Ham. And I think, I'm not sure if he'll start against West Ham, but he certainly looks ready. He certainly looks sharp. And I think he's going to be sort of like we've seen with Walker, one that we use in the Champions League and one that we can sort of save for the latter stages of sort of the cup runs. And there's no need to change massively what we're doing now. And I don't think Aguero fits. Not fit, but he's got a very different style of play to sort of the way that we're playing now, and like
we've learned to play without him, haven't we?
It's like with De Bruyne. Who would have thought De Bruyne would be on the bench in a Champions League knockout game? But the way that we're playing at the minute, I don't think we need to make massive changes to bring other players in. I think De Bruyne will start against West Ham because I think he sort of is a like-for-like change. Sort of De Bruyne coming in for Bernardo or De Bruyne coming in for Mahrez or whoever is more like-for-like than Aguero coming in for Jesus. So I don't know if he'll start, but he's certainly, like I say, he looks ready to go. And I think the minute he gets half a chance, I think we'll see him at the back of the net because that's the sort of player that he is.
Well, he's going to be managed and he's going to be in cotton wool. You can imagine, like, he'll be carried to his car at the end of the game and that sort of looked after. I think how are you, Sergio? Sit down, sort of that sort of stuff.
Let me get you a brew, pal. Yeah,
do you want a brew? Yeah.
Well,
is your shoulders all right?
We play United in a couple of weeks. We play United next Sunday. That'd be great to have him 100% for that, wouldn't it? He
loves the goal against United.
He loves the goal against United.
How far is he off Rooney's record? I'm sure he's not a million miles off the sort of the Derby goal scoring record, and if he's not got many derbies left in him, I'm sure he'll.
That is a Google search I will gladly do for you, Thomas. Wait right there.
I'm sure he's not a million miles away. I think has he got 9 maybe or something for us in derbies?
Is the record 12?
Right, do you know what? Right, okay, here we go. Sergio Aguero on 9. Francis Lee 10, Joe Hayes 10, Wayne Rooney 11.
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney. I tell you what, Sergio hat-trick against United that would make me so happy.
In potentially his last derby as well.
Oh, I love that.
Don't say that.
No.
He'll score 1 at the weekend, and then he'll save 2 for the FA Cup final against United in May, and then we're laughing. And we're absolutely laughing.
Oh, I love this.
If he is fit, like you say he is, and he's ready to go, he's effectively had a year off, and he's going to be fresh. Now, if he genuinely is 100% fit and he's not got no niggles, he just needs match time now. And I don't think he's fit to start games, but you'd expect to see him get more than 10 minutes that he got last night. You might be looking at maybe 20 at the weekend, and then you might see him start a game and come off at half time. I think he'll be nursed. He will be literally nursed into games now until his peak match fitness is hitting the final 10, 12 games of the season for us, and that is perfect. To unleash somebody like Aguero, if he's 100% fit, ready to go at that time of the season, it's going to be frightening for the rest of the teams that we're playing against.
Oh, I tell you what, that's just got a little tingle down my spine. I hate playing United. Dan, you'll testify to me that I enjoy playing United at the best of times, but we're getting into that. Right, we're moving on. Quick update for you for all-time Champions League knockout wins. Jose Mourinho, 27. Alex Ferguson, 27. Pep Guardiola, 28. Not doing too bad is our Pep, is he? He's only 12 years in football management.
Well, that's not going to change either, is it? Because I don't see Ferguson's not coming back, and Mourinho's certainly not going to get in the Champions League again, is he? So there's no worry about him being taken over by them two.
Oh, I love it. Right, just a quick one. We've got a signed Sergio Aguero montage available for $4.95 a ticket. 99 tickets. It's on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our Twitter feed. It will be on afterwards anyway. 99 tickets. The draw's on Monday night, 7:30. $4.95. There's going to be a draw regardless if we sell them all. Have a look at that if you fancy winning yourself a City montage signed by Sergio. Now, bringing something back, lads. Who am I? Here's a quick bit of fun for you. Are you ready for this? I'm expecting you to get this. I'd be disappointed if you couldn't. We'll give an answer now. So first one that gets it wins the prize. I'm not telling you what the prize is. Right, he started his career at... Oh, do you know what? I'm not even sure how to pronounce this. Heridanio. Went to Derby. Went to West Ham. Went to City. Left City. Went to Malaga. Then Algafara. Then back to Heridanio. Then Rosario Central. Then,
can I have a guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Paulo One Shot.
Correct, yes. Paulo One Shot. 64 appearances for City and 27 goals. I tell you what, did you guys ever watch Paulo One Shot live?
Yeah.
Crazy legs, honestly. That lad could run with his legs going all over the place. He didn't have a clue what was going on, so the defenders were knackered.
I remember, not vaguely, but I vividly remember that some of the time he for like 4 games, him and Anelka were on this other level. they were like, especially the home games before we started struggling to shoot pace, they were like godlike players. The way they were touching, he was like that slow motion, and he was like perfectly bouncing. It was like 4 games I think they played, but it was like one of the best partnerships I've ever seen live up front for in City's like career. But like, I remember one shot because I was obviously, you seen the goal that he scored at Old Trafford for Derby, and you're like, who is this kid? And then he's banging goals, and we signed him. He was a good player.
I had a lot of time for it. I think we signed him and George Weah at the same transfer window. I remember going to Stockport County for a
I remember that. Yeah.
Standing up. Were you standing up behind the goal?
Yep.
With the bananas. Come on, bananas.
With a face paint on.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Absolutely loving life. Right, we're moving on.
Well done. Are we still needed here? Is this? I just feel like we're just sat here just listening to these two.
You'll lads will be needy one day. Yeah.
Baby faces.
You wish you went to Stockport County away.
Hey, I've been to York City Stadium. Jesus, don't need to go anywhere else for a stadium experience.
I've been to York, and that was not a nice experience. Let me tell you that for nothing. I think that was the lowest.
They gave you a proper Yorkshire welcome, a few swear words and a few broken glass.
I remember going to York away. We lost. I think it was 2-0 or 2-1. And I was with my dad, and I was with loads of my family, my brother, nephews, nieces. And that side of my brother's family, his wife's from York. So we all went out for an evening afterwards, and we're getting this black cab after going back to the restaurant and going back to our hotel. And the taxi driver said, "Oh, you don't want to stay out too late." Loads of City fans in the town centre. We're like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
We'll go and join them. Where are they? We'll try and avoid them. Where are they? Yeah.
It tends to be the train station, would you believe?
Right, we're moving on. Bit of news. Did you hear that there's potential chance of them moving a Premier League fixture back a week so City fans can attend a game against Brighton? So basically, obviously, you know with the potential of fans attending a football match, and obviously COVID, etc. There's talks of the Premier League moving one game week back 1 week, and the whole Premier League season back a week, so they can fit fans in for one game week for a couple of games. How do you guys feel about that? I don't feel too bad about that. It gives the players an extra bit of rest as well, potentially.
It depends what you mean by fans. It's going to be 400 people or something. Then, good luck to those 400 people. So that might attend a game, but
I think it'll be at City. It's at Brighton, so it'll be like 10,000.
Well, last game's at Brighton again.
Last game of the season's home against Everton.
Home?
I think
Right.
Brighton's maybe
Brighton's away then, so it'll be
game.
Brighton, and then they'll be able to play the home game at City then. Yeah.
I mean, I get to games every week, so I'm not bothered, mate. It's no skin off my back. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
If things tend to keep positive with the whole COVID stuff, and if it gets to around that time where it seems like there's light in the tunnel and people can go back to some sort of normality, then yeah, do it. Not just for us. It's not just for us about having this title win. If we win the league and be able to pick the trophy up, it's for all the teams and all the teams that we're playing at home. Would love to have the fans back for a weekend.
Final game of the season as well, or week before. I quite like that idea.
Regardless of where they're finishing and what they're playing, let them come back.
Well, one thing with that as well, they'd have to move the FA Cup back a week as well. And would that mean they move the Champions? Is the Champions League normally a Champions League final normally a couple of weeks?
It's like usually 3 weeks left.
Yeah, it's not too bad that, I suppose, is it? From
I can't see UEFA amending any of their.
No, I can't either. They won't give a
match the FA. If anything, they'll bring them forward so they purposely clash just to make life difficult for us. If we are anywhere near the Champions League.
If you think about it, if we were to get to the Champions League final and the FA Cup final, the closer them two fixtures together is probably better for us anyway.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, we could have final game of the Premier League on the Sunday, FA Cup final on the Wednesday night, and then the Champions League final on the Saturday.
And it's all wrapped up. It'll be winning of the greatest week ever.
Yeah. And we're laughing, aren't we? So, you know what I mean? Easy.
Dan, I can sense you're itching to say something. You're chomping at the bit there, pal. So let's move on. No,
I must be probably the only one who's completely against fans returning this season.
If it's safe.
Why not?
It's safe, obviously.
Well, if it's safe, even if it's just for a couple of 100 fans, don't do it. What I'd love to do is, the way this country is going, and if the government is to be trusted by anything, everyone should be able to move forward from July onwards with a hell of a lot more freedom. Why not just see this season out as safe as possible? Don't put anybody at risk, players, fans, whatever. Stewards have got to be involved in that as well. They're main reason most games go ahead are the stewards. Wait until the next season and then start the season proper, back to the normal, as close to normality as possible, with more fans there. Then you're not having all the fans that are disappointed that didn't get a chance to see us lift the title this season. There's going to be more titles. I would love to see, rather than a stalky Etihad Stadium, a couple of fans here, there, and everywhere, one in a corner flag, one up in the third tier, have the stadium back as all together. We all came in the first game back together.
Okay.
My only kind of counter to that is, I don't know if you're going to touch on this, Tom, at some point in another show on that, but there's rumours that the European Championships will be held in the UK.
Yes, yeah, that was the next subject. Well done. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, so here's the segue for you. So, if they're going to host, it's theoretical that they will host games at the Etihad Stadium. If they're going to let fans into the stadium, you would think it might be as a test. Then maybe, where's it kick off? Early June. It's only going to be a matter of 4 or 5 weeks before the Euros kick off. So they're going to be in the stadium at some point, whether it's going to be English fans or whoever's going to be qualified. They're going to be there at some point. So if they're going to let them in for that, then
I very much doubt we'll let foreign fans in, because the way the quarantine's going at the moment, and not everyone overseas is having the quarantine rolled out and the vaccine rolled out as quickly as we're rolling out.
You're going to get the fans from this country that would say, for instance, if Wales are qualified, I'm sure there'd be a lot of Welsh fans that would love to go and watch the national team play at the Etihad if they were playing there.
It's a very good question, that, actually. Will fans be allowed at the Euros? I don't think they will. Now you've said that rings a bell.
If they're going to let them in the City games, if they're going to try and push for the FA Cup final to have fans, and it won't just be football that is having fans. I'm sure there'll be boxing events and other sporting events, rugby. There'll be other sporting events going on, not going ahead with fans. If they're going to do that, then do it. Because as long as it's safe, like Dan says, as long as it's safe, I'm happy to try it. Why not? Then it comes down to whether or not do we get successfully to that stage as a country, where we're at the point where we can actually start to lift the restrictions. It all depends. You're asking a lot between the 25th of February till June. The way people are in this country, it could go 10 times worse. We don't know. So
we've seen the way the whole pandemic's gone across as well. We're stopping and starting, we're rushing, we're too slow. You just don't know what's around the corner. And I'd prefer just to, even including the Premier League in this matter, the Euros, just settle everything, be safe rather than sorry. Football will be still going to be there. There's always seasons. I know some people, I don't want to put a damper on it, but it will be some people's last, but it's better safe than sorry. Don't ruin the whole mix, because if you have one cock up, it's a chain reaction and then it's a longer phase.
On that note, thank you, boys. Right, quick one. Big game, massive game. Every game is a massive game. West Ham. They're doing really well at the minute. Dan, I'm going to bring you into this to start us off, pal. What's your thoughts and aspirations of the West Ham game, apart from 3 lovely, sexy points?
I'll be very cautious to say that I'm bricking it. West Ham over recent years have been a bit of a walk in the park for us. This season is completely different. I'd be very, very happy, and I mean over the moon, if we got through the whole 90 minutes without one knock, because they are so physical this year. Souček, what a signing he's been for the Hammers. He's just the perfect combination partner for Declan Rice. And those two have been working at midfield, left, right and centre. And we've not, if you look at it properly, the teams we've come against have not really had a coercive and well-oiled midfield. It tends to be City that runs the midfield. West Ham, for me, are the first team in a good couple of months that we're going to come across that are going to have a lot of the ball in the centre of the park rather than out wide or at the back. So we've got to be cautious about that. But that said, we are at home. We do have a good record over him, and I tend to like my big scoreline. So I'm going to go for a big City win.
We're going to do predictions in a moment. West Ham are winless in 11 games against City in all competitions since a 2-1 league victory at the Etihad in September 2015. It's not bad, that, is it? Tom, what's your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, West Ham have been sort of the surprise package for me this year. I think if it weren't for City sort of becoming unstoppable, I think you'd be looking at David Moyes for sort of manager of the season, and I still think he's in with half a shout if West Ham do manage to go on and make top four, which is still quite a way away yet. But yeah, they play good football, and I think that's what you always sort of have to credit is teams who. A lot of teams come to the Etihad and change the way they play completely because they know that they're going to see none of the ball. Sort of like Gladbach did on Wednesday night. I think they were the second top scorers in the group stage and they didn't muster a shot, really. But I can't see West Ham doing that. And I think West Ham know that if they sit back and allow us to sort of play our game, we're going to win the game. And their best way of getting a result at the weekend is if they come and try and have a good go. And Antonio always causes us problems. He scored a worldie at the London Stadium at the first game of this first time we met this season, and I think that they will give us a good go. And I think if they score early, we might have a little bit of an issue on our hands. Again, I agree with Dan. I think I can't see past City winning any game at the minute. And I think whether or not his team's sitting behind our team's trying to go toe for toe with us, I think at the minute we're just so strong. And again, we go back to the fact that we can rotate our squad. I'm sure we'll see 3 or 4 or 5 changes from Wednesday. I think Zinchenko will come back in. I think De Bruyne will come in. I think we might see Mahrez start. Maybe even Varane could get a start. And we've just got so many players that are fit and raring to go that as long as we take our chances, if we're wasteful like we were against Gladbach, we could maybe find ourselves in a spot of bother. But I think they'll score. I think they'll get a goal. But I can't see past the City win again.
Oh, Brian, anything to add before we go to predictions?
I think I just think that maybe it's like a month ago now. I said with our next 5 games, if we're going forward those 5, that will probably push us as close to the title as we need to go before we can start saying it's done. Since then, we've won 3 in a row, so there's basically 2 games left of those 4 of the 5. So I mean. I think it'll just be a case of we'll have to grind. This will be a tough game. West Ham will be up for this. It'll be a battle. It'll be a physical contest because they will make it a physical contest. Whether or not, we have to go by that, I don't know, but they'll be getting stuck in. They've got everything to play for here. I mean, if they can string a win for them or a point for them is a really, really good result in this because it strengthens their position in that 4th place. There's not many teams that have taken points off us all season really at home. I guess considering our 19 games in a row, for any team to stop us on this run at the minute, it's going to take an awful lot. But if any team can, West Ham can. So it's really going to be a tough fixture.
Oh, it's a lot of I think we're all expecting a tough game this weekend, aren't we? Right, let's go for predictions. Brian, we'll start with you as you finish there.
Saying that, I think. It's going to be. I think it'll be a tough game. I think we'll score. We've scored a lot of early goals, so I think we'll score early, and I think it'll be a tough game. But I think in the second half, they'll have run their race, and I think we'll win 4-0. The score will flatter us at 4-0, should I say?
Okay, 4-0 like that, Tom.
I'm gonna go with 3-1. I think we'll take the lead. They'll level up, and then we'll pull away in the second half like we usually do.
Nice football score. Dan, what are you thinking?
2-1 loss.
Oh! Are you serious?
Is it Dan or is it City Dave?
No, City Dave's gone for a completely different City Dave. He's gone for a 1-0.
1-1 City Dave.
No, I'm. There's just something about me that thinks it's going to be a really, really kick in the bollocks game for City. And I do. I'd rather be positive, but I'm going to be honest in my approach. I do feel this is going to be the loss. I do think
a non-believer. We've got a non-believer in it.
Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
Where's the but? I'm only kidding.
If we win 5-0. But my heart tells me that it's going to be not heart. My head tells me it's going to be a 2-1 loss, and I don't know why.
This is a 2-1 loss against the team we've scored in 19 consecutive League and Cup games against.
All good things come to an end, unfortunately.
City are enjoying.
The thing is, though, Dan can't lose now, can he? He can't lose because if we win comfortably, he'll say, "Oh, I got it wrong, but we win." I mean, all that sort of stuff.
Have you met me? I'm a right stupid bastard.
It's like
if
back
he gets it
United,
right
I
and we lose,
I'd be gutted if we win. I was like, oh, that's not my prediction.
if West Ham win 2-1, he'd be like, "Oh, hail the Messiah," you know, it'll be
yeah,
strengthened even more.
aren't I great and sexy?
Hey, wait until I bring out I predicted Ruben Diaz should sign for City motto, you know.
Fucking hell. West Ham have won 7 of their 9 Premier League games in 2021. They're on a fantastic run of form. They're not going to be easy to beat. I said it before and I'll say it again. We score the first goal, we'll win. And if the best City team turn up, they won't stand a chance. But it's going to be a tough one. I think we all know that. Crikey, I'm a bit nervous now. I was looking forward to this game until Dan opened his mouth.
It'll be an enjoyable one. That's one thing for sure. It'll be a good game to watch. It'll be a good game of football. It's not going to be a boring game.
It's going to be a 0-0 now, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah.
Saturday morning, 0-0.
You know what? Happily, I'll put my neck on the line.
The journal curse.
I'm not putting any Gundogan tattoos on the line.
Fucking journals.
Journal's cursed it. It's 0-0, lads. Don't bother watching.
Where are we up to on the bets with having tattoos? I've not heard from Chris since he's made his tattoo bet.
That's why it's gone quiet, isn't it?
It was if City won the league, he'd get Gundogan tattooed on him, weren't it? And
amazing.
And it couldn't have been timed better that as soon as he said it, we hit form and Gundogan turned into the best midfielder to ever play football. So if we've got anyone to thank, we all know who it is. But, yeah, there's no chance it's 0-0 at the weekend. Absolutely zero chance.
Oh,
You just double down on it now, and that means it's going to be the worst game you've ever seen.
It's not. We both teams play good football, so therefore it's gonna be 0-0, and there's no two ways about it. So yeah.
Are you going, Tom? You going?
I am indeed.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
right.
I will be there on Saturday, watching that boring 0-0 draw. So yeah, I'll be there to chat with you pre-game and half-time and. Whenever you're chatting about City,
we could talk shit about City all day of the week. Mate. You know that as well as I do. Right, that's it. We're wrapping it up, lads. Let's go to bed. I'm knackered. I've had enough of the negativity from Dan for one night. Bring back positive Dan next week, please, pal. I need the 10 nils. Where's the 10 nils gone?
Wouldn't City technically be invincibles with City, Dave? Like, we just draw 38 games in a season. Technically speaking, we don't lose.
Yeah, but we're essentially relegated with being unbeaten. 38 draws, yeah.
I think we'd stay up on goal difference, maybe.
Oh, I love it. Listen, thank you very much for joining us, Blues. Has anyone got anything else to add before we go?
Don't think so.
Brilliant.
First time I think I've ever ended a podcast saying, "Come on, Hammers, I want my prediction."
Oh, don't say it. You'll be jinxing it. You'll regret saying that. Right, we're going. Thanks for joining us, lads. Thank you for watching Blues. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you for kick-off on Saturday. Ready? See you later, boys.
See you later.